Welcome to the Positive Change Methods podcast with me, Andy Smith. Each episode will bring you tips, practical change formats, and new perspectives to make your life and work better right now, drawn from Appreciative Inquiry and related approaches. This episode is brought to you by the Practical Appreciative Inquiry Facilitator Training. Let me show you how to get started using Appreciative Inquiry confidently with teams and small groups. The next live online course starts soon. You can find the details and how to book your place at coachingleaders.co.uk. Okay, let's get started. Episode 19. Identifying the themes emerging from appreciative interviews. When I'm using Appreciative Inquiry with a team or small group, in the discovery stage, I have the participants pair up and do appreciative interviews with each other. I also supply packs of post-it notes and ask the interviewers to use them to write headlines for the stories, the values, the enabling factors, and wishes for the future on separate post-it notes. So you'd end up with at least 4 post-it notes from each interview. Each table of 6 or 8 people sticks up all their post-its on a wall or flip chart under these headings: stories, values, enabling factors, and wishes. That gives us a cloud of post-its summarizing what came out of the interviews, so that a table of 6 or 8 people can all take a look at it, see what's similar to what came out of their own interviews and what's different, and as a group, identify what the most important themes are. A tip from my experience here: the reason I'm using the brand name Post-its rather than the generic sticky notes is that I strongly advise using branded Post-its rather than the cheaper supermarket versions. The glue is generally not so good on the knockoffs, so half an hour after they've been stuck up on a wall or flip chart, there's a high risk that they'll start to fall one by one like autumn leaves. If you have a larger group, so there are 2 or 3 tables in the room, they can also take a look at each other's clouds and notice what's similar and what's additional to their own findings. Where there's more than one table, each table can briefly present the themes they've found to the rest of the room. Here's another tip. Participants will often face you to present their findings to you as the facilitator, even if it means turning their back on the other tables in the room. So, stand behind the other people in the room so that they're included in the audience. The important thing about identifying the themes is that it's done by the group, not by the facilitator or outside consultant. They are the experts on their own experience, and it's likely they'll use some terms unique to their workplace or professional culture that you won't even understand if you're an outsider. The significance the group attaches to each theme that emerges will be the result of 2 things: how frequently the theme emerges from the interviews and how strongly people in the group feel about it. Make sure that all of the data from the interviews is captured by collecting the interview sheets that people have made notes on and by taking high-resolution photos of the post-it clouds. If you're an outside facilitator, don't get stuck with the job of writing a report summarizing the findings. As noted above, you'll be less well-placed than someone inside the team to make sense of it. If you're facilitating a group virtually, it's easy to have the team use sticky notes on a virtual whiteboard instead of physical post-its. The appreciative interview process is highly scalable, so you can use a similar format if there are 8 or 10 tables in the room rather than just 1. You would probably ask participants on one table to look at no more than 2 other tables' themes, otherwise the process becomes quite time-consuming. Identifying themes from in-depth interviews by trained interviewers. What if, rather than a one-hit Appreciative Inquiry Summit or Appreciative Team Development Workshop, you've had trained appreciative interviewers going through the organization and conducting longer, in-depth interviews with 9 or 10 people each? There's a lot more data to sort through, so you'll need a different process. Have the interviewers reconvene with the stories they've gathered along with your Appreciative Inquiry steering group. In groups of around 6, have each interviewer share 1 or 2 stories that particularly resonated with them. Ask them to identify what makes that story significant to them. The answers you get might be feelings. For example, there was a feeling of fun, or excitement, or determination. They might be material things or actions. Everyone had access to the same level of information, or we all worked together. Or they might be ideas or concepts, There was a sense of pride in our work, or we gained a huge amount of confidence. What we're looking for when we identify themes are ideas, concepts, or values that motivate people, that excite them, and that are important to them. The themes that give life to the organization. So if you get answers that are more at the level of feelings, it's worth inquiring into the idea that gave rise to that feeling. What was it that gave rise to that feeling? Why did you feel that way in that situation? And if the answers you're hearing are more about actions or things, then it's worth asking questions to find out what made those actions or things important. What's important about everyone having access to the same level of information? Or what was it about all working together that made it significant to you? When you have the themes expressed as ideas or concepts that are significant, exciting, and motivating, each group should write the 3 to 5 most significant ones up on a flip chart and collectively vote on which themes resonate most with them. In their book Appreciative Inquiry, Change at the Speed of Imagination, Jane Magruder Watkins and Bernard J. Moore suggest giving each person 3 small dot stickers and placing them against the theme or themes that are most important to them. If you don't have stickers, you could allow them 3 strokes of a marker pen instead. Ideally, the dots or markers should all be the same color, so that all votes have the same visual impact. The voting should be done silently and individually, so that participants are not unduly influenced by their colleagues. This is particularly important where some participants are of higher rank or status than others. They can use all 3 votes on one theme or spread them between different themes. This process is not purely quantitative analysis based on how frequently the themes are mentioned. Emotion plays a part as well. Participants can use multiple votes to support themes they feel most strongly about. Also, when participants share the stories that mean most to them, their strength of feeling, reflected in their voice tone, facial expressions, and energy levels, will influence the group's choices. Next time, a question that people often ask. How do you do appreciative interviews with people who are feeling negative or who are going through a tough time? We'll have some tips for doing the interviews sensitively and for handling negativity or cynicism from the interviewee. Thanks for listening to the Positive Change Methods podcast with me, Andy Smith. You can find the show notes at positivechangemethods.com. Please like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you like this episode, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else you can review it. See you next time.